Hey everybody, welcome back to the channel. My name's Andrew and very excited to have on the show Errika Celsy with the state of Arizona, Department of Homeland Security, specifically the compliance officer in that role. And Erika, you and I met this year a few different times. Usually I think I've mostly seen you with Ryan and a few other conferences, but so glad to have you on the channel, and I'm going to pass it to you for a quick introduction.
Thank you, Andrew. As you said, I'm Errika Celsy. I am the state's Chief Privacy and Compliance Officer. That is not where I started my journey. I actually am formerly and still currently an educator. I spent 17 years in the K-12 system, everything from being a teacher to an instructional coach, tech integration, assistant principal, and then landed myself as the director of educational technology before coming here. And I am actually still currently an adjunct professor at Glendale Community College.
And it's such a cool bag. I'm so excited to talk to you today. This is going to be such a fun time. And the first question we always roll into first, and I'm excited to hear this one because I think it's going to be a cool journey, is so back in school, we tell our teachers on the career day decision choice of, hey, what do we want to be when we grow up? We say lawyers, we say doctors, we say firefighters, we say veterinarian astronauts. But obviously, we got ourselves into cybersecurity. So what did that look like for you, and how did you break in?
Well, I can honestly say I'm not a marine biologist like I had thought I was going to aspire to be. And in fact, being in a landlocked state, I don't think that's even in the cards for the future. But I actually had no idea that I was going to land in a cybersecurity role. And I guess kind of my interest in technology at large really stems back to being in the classroom. The district that I started off in as a teacher was Dysart Unified, and they had a very 21st century mindset when it came to introducing technology to students and giving us as teachers tools and opportunities to find ways to integrate that into our instruction in meaningful ways. And so anytime there was hey, you can get 6 iPod touches or 10 extra laptops for your classroom, here's the class that you'll take, and then you'll get that. And I ended up actually becoming what was called at the time an innovation ambassador for the district.
Wow.
It was really, really cool. It was I didn't even realize what I was doing at the time, but I was learning how to be an instructional coach. And I was really showing my colleagues how to use technology appropriately with students, even when we didn't fully know what that looked like yet. And so that kind of birthed this whole, maybe I could be an instructional coach. And that's where I landed. And it's a very funny story. And if my boss ever sees this, shout out to Juan Pino. My first year in Buckeye Elementary School District, where I was a coach and a tech integration specialist, I had no business doing what I was doing. And it makes the privacy officer in me shudder to think at the things that I was trying to pull off. But I had left a Google district and entered a Microsoft district. And
Yeah.
I got really used to using Google Docs for the collaborative piece and everything. And so I had, as a baby instructional coach, literally so green, had the audacity to call our district technology director and say, can I create my own rogue Google account so that I can start making Google Docs and share student information with colleagues so we can build student study things? And I mean, I shudder to think that that was a thing I actually did. But it was so funny. He goes, I remember, he's you calling and me being who is this girl? And fast forward to a few years later, they coined the tech integration specialist. They're you are always in technology. We can't get you to separate this. We're going to put you in this and you're just going to scale it for the district. And lo and behold, my new boss became Mr. Juan Pino himself. And so he was hey, Celsy, we are still a Microsoft district. You're going to have to go show everyone how to use Office 365. So I'm cool. I'll figure out what this is like. But the wildest part is we had new leadership come in the next year. And then I had to say, so we're making a switch to Google. All those things I taught you on Office 365, I'm going to need you to forget them because we're not using it. And it really it taught me how to eat crow and be very humble and give everyone grace and give myself grace, which was probably a really cool opportunity that most people don't get. But I did all of that before this little COVID thing happened. And so COVID kind of blew up in our face in so many ways, especially as tech integration specialists, because we're all on the phone with each other going, okay, cool. We've taught everyone how to use technology with kids. They should know how to do this, right? And then, of course, like everyone panics and goes, wait, what am I supposed to do here? So on the fly, we're reteaching teachers how to do these things to engage with their students. And as we're doing this, they're getting all these cool flashy offers from every single vendor under the sun going, try this free for 90 days, try this free for 6 months. And I had to be like, whoa, whoa, whoa. Like, what are we doing here? No, 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 no. A, those are not district adopted or approved resources. And B, nothing is free. So what is it that is being monetized here? It's your information and your students' information, and we're not okay with that. And that was kind of where like the privacy mindset started being cultivated for me, because I was like, the students they're in our care. Like, we are stewards of their well-being, their education. Like, they are our responsibility, and it's our duty to protect them and the information that we carry on them so that they can be successful humans when they leave us as, grown adults. And so there was a lot of pushback, had a lot of unhappy friends that were like, can I just? And I'm like, no, you cannot.
It's wild thinking of like the school aspect of things, right? Where it's like, even as simple as email addresses, right? Like, hey, keep your EDU email address separate from logins to your Gmail or your Proton or your Yahoo. That, yes, we understand that you're probably building out course curriculums and doing work at home. And of course, it's easier and more convenient to use your personal information in your personal email, and then just, I'll just send it over to my EDU, or, you know what, I'll just sign in to my personal email stuff inside the school district. And no, yeah, I'm hitting buttons right now, right? Don't have any flashbacks, okay? And it's just like, what happens if that email address is compromised? What happens if they're on the government or the school's infrastructure and they're going to certain training sites or things that are compromised? Something else, so that information is going out, like you said, for PII. And that's huge. And I think I was just talking to GCU this last month, and they dropped their video on the first for their 3 tips on the tool. And I kind of I explained that too, saying, hey, separation of personal and business emails on your work environment, because of that exact thing. Like, the compromise is so real, and like there's other things that could be adware and other things that could be getting pulled into your school environment that you're not aware of. You don't know. You're just working off convenience, because being a teacher is hard. My sister-in-law is a teacher, and it's, bless her heart, for all the long nights she had to do for building curriculum. She taught 5th and 6th grade, and it can be a lot. So I understand that too, that the convenience can sometimes outweigh the security, but that's where compliance and the hard 2 letters of no has to sometimes be said. So no, that's awesome, and good for you for standing your ground. Well, can I do this? No, you can't. No.
And of course, everyone's like, Cels, please, can I? I'm like, no. And it's so funny, because like I once heard, security is not sexy, safety is not fun. Like, security is like, it's not the fun, right? It's the stop. We have to think through this. Like, is this appropriate? Is this necessary? And so all of like these shiny things that are popping into their purview, that they're like, but this would be so great for my kids. I'm like, and I believe that it very well could be, but this is not how we're going to go about it.
Yeah.
And it was really funny, because even after all of that, like, we had to rethink like our AUP, because of those very reasons. You're logging in to both your work account and your personal account. And so those Google lines get crossed.
Yep.
And we can't have student information on personal accounts, because if a FOIA comes to pass or anything comes out to light, those are public records. And so we're like, if you don't want your personal information being touched, you can't have student information on there. Do not use work devices for your personal things for that very reason. And so those conversations were happening.
It's funny. It's funny.
Oh,
it's funny, like with workplaces, it's like being inside the security realm of it. Like, I'll be like, oh, we got this phishing email. I'm like, who's using their business email for their Netflix account? Or who's using this for their Amazon Prime subscription? And I'm like, yeah, this is just spam. But I'm like, why would someone use like their DHS or like their Wells Fargo email, like to, like, oh, they're trying to get into Facebook, like
spam or fish, like, and that's the other thing that was so not even in the that wasn't even in the conversation at the time, right? Like, and now in retrospect, I'm like, oh my gosh, I could have done some great things there, but I think we had our hands full. But not to mention, I was at the time 6 months pregnant.
Oh my
And
gosh.
so it was wild. That whole year was just kind of a blur, looking back on it, but it really like cultivated this whole new image of like what we should be doing with information. And it was wild. I didn't actually expect for the turns to happen. And if I'm speaking completely transparently, I had a conversation that made it seem that I was not going to be the fit for the new technology director in that district. And it was for a reason that is not something I can control.
Yeah.
And so you can read into that however you want. And so my boss was very upset with that and said, we're going to get you somewhere where you can thrive. Like, you deserve this. And so he really kind of saw that in me. And anytime something came up, I was like, oh, I don't know. I don't think I'm ready for that. And he's like, you're ready. And it was actually him and another colleague that really pushed me to apply for the director of ed tech role in Cave Creek. And I probably never would have even seen it in myself. And kind of, you're going to hear like a common theme there, because I don't usually. But I went for it. And lo and behold, I landed myself in Cave Creek, and I am forever grateful for them giving me what I actually aspired to be my dream job. Like, I was like, God, if I could be a director of educational technology, have an impact on like this broad scale, all these students and their families and the community, like how amazing that would be. And then I got into the role and I was like, oh my heavens, like this is not just that. This is so many other things. And one of the biggest pain points was, I think people think Cave Creek and they think like, oh, there's plenty of money to be had up there. There's not. And we were such a bare bones budget that like anything we did had to be with students in mind. And it wasn't that cybersecurity doesn't have students in mind, but curriculum needed to come first. Physical safety of the building needed to come first. And for a reason, right? Those are the things that they're going to protect and provide for our students the way they're supposed to. And so I was like, what are we going to do? Because I also know that our cyber insurance is going to require that we have MFA. And so we don't have that. And I was panicking because I was a baby director and didn't really know. I'd never worked with a budget before. I had never done any of those things. And so I got very lucky, and I had a very persistent parent who was actually, he worked for one of the resellers of one of the solutions that the state was using. And so I didn't really know what to think when he said there's a cyber grant available. You need to go listen to it and listen to their spiel. They're doing a roadshow. And I'm like, I don't know how to tell you this, but Cave Creek doesn't qualify for grants. We're not going to get it. And I went down just to humor him. And Ryan told me, my boss, he said, yep, please apply. Please just apply. Get your name in. Please apply. And it was a very short time later that Cave Creek was awarded all 5 solutions of the
great
program.
So amazing.
Being able to go back to your cabinet and your governing board to say, I just brought like essentially the equivalent of like $250,000 of solutions at no cost to you. And oh, by the way, give you a cyber posture where there was none. So pretty much we had all these solutions, and I realized really quickly that I didn't know really what I was talking about. And so I had this concern that I needed to at least have a working understanding, to have conversations around them so that, when our stakeholders ask me, what does this do? I can at least answer them at least a surface level. So
yeah,
I started going to every single cyber event that was available to me. And I would just sit in the room and I would just absorb the information. Half of it was Latin. And I just was like, okay, scripting notes, trying to get back into my principal brain and be like, okay, I'm sitting in a room and I'm doing an observation. Let me just write everything I'm hearing. I'll go back and reread these notes later, and then I'll try to make sense of them. And really, a lot of that was spent Googling. What does this mean? What does this mean? What does this mean? Just so that I could have like a working vocabulary and be able to speak to some of these things. And if I'm being honest, like I still don't fully feel like I have assimilated all of the knowledge that I should. And so I'm constantly learning. I'm constantly Googling. I'm constantly listening. And I don't know how it happened, but the same persistent parent was at an event, and Ryan and he were talking. His name's Chris. And he goes, "Who is this girl that keeps showing up all these places?" And he goes, "Oh, that's Errika. She's our director of ed tech, blah, 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 blah." And so Ryan invited me to be part of the task force for the cyber readiness program. And so I was completely honored, and also like, "Are you sure you have the right person for this job?" Although if you know what you're saying. But that really gave me a lot more exposure. And again, I got to be in the room, I got to listen, and it was in a very non-threatening way that I was around other colleagues, but also people from all like the locals. It gave me kind of a safe space to ask those questions that I would otherwise have felt really shy to ask. And then, yeah, fast forward to him and my teammate saying, "We have a position open." And I'm like, "I still don't think you have the right girl." And he tells me time and time again to stop questioning his judgment. So I'm trying to be better. But
Ryan knows how to find the good eggs. Let me tell you.
It's been a journey, but I mean, it's like, I just love learning, and I love being in something that challenges me and keeps my brain sharp. But I would be lying if I said I feel like a master of my craft right now. I feel very green still.
And honestly, it takes someone that knows there's still learning to be had to say that, because we could both sit here and say, "Yep, we're subject matter experts. That's why we're on this podcast, YouTube video talking about this today." But in full transparency, like there's always room for continuous learning, no matter what role you're getting into.
100%.
So leading into my next question, I guess. So obviously leveling up from your district education technology, now moving up to chief privacy compliance officer. What was the challenge rating kind of jump to? Do you think we talked before, kind of like going from the minor leagues to the major leagues when it came into a security posture? Did you find some similarities though? Or was it almost having to completely learn like from baseball to football kind of like rules? Does that make sense?
Yes, it does. It makes complete sense. So I think one of the things that I've noticed, and I can even take it back to just being in education, and I've actually had this conversation with a couple of my colleagues because I laugh. As a teacher, I think you look at the coach and go, "What do you do all day?" As a coach, you look at site leadership and go, "What do you do all day?" As a leader at a site, you look at the district folks and go, "What do you do all day?" And like, it's just this, like, every time you go up, you have no idea that the person that is at the next tier is doing so much to deflect what is happening above you. And so that is one big takeaway I had from the first time I moved into a district level role was, we can feel the stress, but our teachers and students should never feel the stress. And so I've kind of carried that mentality with me that at the state, we can feel the stress, but our state, our local, our tribal, our
partners and stuff. Yeah.
They should never feel the stress. Like it should be something that we carry that weight to help be in service of them. But also I thought that being at a district level, it took a long time to make things happen. There was another really hard learning curve that where I was on like a sailboat in a district. I am on the Titanic, which also is a terrible reference. So forgive like the end game of that. But at the state, like where I'm just like, okay, I see the answer, go.
It's a marathon rather than a sprint. I understand what you're talking about. And I mean, it stinks because like you see the finish line and like, well, I can just run there. I can run there. We'll be there in a month. But unfortunately for a lot of, or even some private sector organizations, like, so even on the private side, like things can take months, years to sometimes fully implement, which for, I think a lot of folks with your and mine mentality, Erika, is like, we could just do this tomorrow. I mean,
so painful. I'm always like cringing, like in my skin. I'm like, but can I just, and no, you can't.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
No, I totally can connect with that. And I love that analogy of like, What do they do? Because it's just like, I think at any company, no matter where you're in tech, sales, banking, government work, I can so relate to that analogy of like, what do they do on that next tier up? But they're doing exactly what you mentioned. They're blocking all the rocks and debris and headaches that are trying to reach that lower level team, and they're deflecting it. So I really like that analogy because I can so relate to that. It just made me smile because I'm like, man, that's solid. That's good.
Mission accomplished. I did good for the day.
Yeah. Well, let's go to the next good question that I think that we also talked about: education, certifications, experience. Where do you see the three on what levels, like maybe more important than the other, or how do you kind of look at those? Because I know you have your opinion kind of on certifications, for example, and I'll kind of lead with that for you to kind of take over.
Yeah. So if I'm being completely transparent, I hold 0 technical certifications, as it were. I am an ISTE certified educator. So for any K-12ers watching this, you probably know what that means, but it's the international standards for technology and education. I went through a very rigorous process to get there, and shout out to Dr. Leanne Lindsay for being an incredible mentor to help me get there. I'm also a Google certified trainer. And while both of those sound really cool in the K-12 space, they don't actually translate to the cyberspace. And so that's one of the things that I've set some personal goals, and thank God I have, a mentor in Ryan who's like, let's look at these certifications that can help you to hone your leadership skills and give you some more of that technical understanding. But I hold a dual degree in early childhood and elementary education and a master's in ed leadership for K-12. So I am super graceful when I consider other people's qualifications because I know what mine are, and I know that they are not what one would typically align with a cyber professional.
I think, though, it goes back to being able to be a continuous learner and challenge yourself and just being humble. Like, Erika, from the conversations I've had with you, you're so humble and you are so hard on yourself, which you shouldn't be. But you take feedback, and you also know how to like take that and actually go action it and then fix a problem or fix a solution or a problem that comes across your plate. So, I mean, honestly, I think Ryan did a fantastic job snagging you because he saw the diamond in the rough and like, oh yeah, she needs to be on the team because she's going to be an amazing asset to the state. So first off, you're doing a killer job, and I love the conversations we have on and off the YouTube channel, first off. And I think it also just kind of goes to show, though, like, this can be leveraged on 2 different ways, like education, certification, the experience of it. I see that you hold so much experience with what you've been doing so far, so much with your time at the education aspect of it through K through 12. That's where you can really outweigh if you need 2 of 3 things, or like you have experience and you have education. You have your master's in education. You're lacking certifications, but you still have that inch deep knowledge and like enough technical expertise to get there. Anywhere in cybersecurity, I feel, as long as you can hold 2 of those 3 things, whether you hold a degree in certifications and experience, education and experience, you can be successful in any role. Because I think you and I can both say, like, if I wanted to go be a teacher, there's some pieces of it that can be taught, but there's some self-learning and self-drive that also needs to do said role.
Yep.
Fast forward that into technology, same piece of it. I can teach you to be a security analyst. I can teach you to how to understand GRC compliance and the NIST standards and how and why we say yes to some things but no to others. But there has to be the self-drive and understanding to be willing to learn. So correct me if I'm wrong.
No, we call that in education grit. Like having grit and the ability to be resilient and to just know that you don't know it all. Like it is a little bit of humility, and it is a little bit of just perseverance and being willing to put your head down and do good work, and also embrace that you're not the smartest person in the room. And that's actually a good thing. Like I did hear somebody, and I feel like it's cliche now because I feel like I've seen it somewhere else too. If you're the smartest person in the room, you should leave the room. And I've never been the smartest person in the room, nor do I aspire to be the smartest person in the room. Like I have a thirst for learning. Like I want to know more about any and everything. And that is probably one of like my wildest things is I can have a conversation about the most random of things, and people are like, why do you even know that? I'm like, there's so many useless things like in the folds of my brain that I will I'll doom scroll Google just to learn like
Yep.
new thing. I was the weird kid that was like, oh, that's a new word I found in Webster's dictionary today. Like I just like I don't know what it is, but I find something new in everyone that I talk to. Like and I'm always driven to learn from other people because like that's the joy in life, is continuously growing as a human being.
100%. Well, Erika, another question I have for you. So obviously where you've gotten to sit and probably even back at the schools district, you've probably seen resumes come across your desk. And I guess when it comes into maybe the now being part of the state cybersecurity team, there's still, I know, internships that come across your way for cybersecurity interns and other positions that maybe come across. Are there anything in particular, specific things you look for on a resume that make a strong candidate?
So I think you've kind of already hit on that a little bit. Looking for the balance, and quite honestly, if you have like the full alphabet soup of certifications, that very well may behoove you. But I personally am looking, this again, little cliche, but I'm looking for the soft skills. I'm looking to see that you've been able to interface with teams, that you've been able to work with others, collaborate, communicate. One of the things that I find a lot of value in is being able to communicate to different stakeholder groups. So if I see that you've only ever worked in a silo, that kind of gives me a little reservation, or at least puts like the note in the back of my head that I'm probably going to have to coach you up on how to talk to different individuals or different groups of people.
Mm-hmm.
That's not necessarily like a deal breaker, but it just is like, it gives me pause.
Yeah. It's how fast can they hit the ground running? Like,
Correct.
Yeah.
Correct. Because then at least like, I mean, I'm always looking to see like, how can I support this person to continue to grow, right? Like, again, like that's the end game, is to continue to get better. But I do look to see like, okay, what does your experience look like? What are you bringing to the table in those experiences? Like, what have you contributed to those places? Education and certifications are absolutely important. But I also know that one of the things that especially Ryan and I and my boss at GCC, we've all kind of talked about is the moving away from the requirement of like a 4-year degree or even a 2-year degree, right? Yeah. It's what have you done that's hands-on that can demonstrate that you can take this mantle I'm about to give you and do great things with it. And a lot of it, I mean, I try really hard to give grace when I'm looking at a piece of paper and a resume, because some people make amazing resumes and then their interview falls so flat.
Yeah.
And some people give me the bare bones resume and I get them in a room and I'm like, you're the guy, like you're the girl, like this is it. And so I try to, again, put kind of my teacher hat on, and I'm like, some people aren't all great writers.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And that's okay. But I am looking, more critical things that I'm looking for are, can you interface well with others? Can you work cooperatively with others? Those are the big green flags for me.
Yeah. Yeah. The professional skills I think are huge, because it's like we were talking about earlier too, even on the video. It's like skills in certain positions can be taught. It's like when you're back in high school working your very first job, there's an onboarding week. They're going to train you how to do something. They're going to teach you how to cook. They're going to teach you how to do the dishes. They're going to teach you how to take orders. They're going to teach you how to work the cash register. And it's like, it's the same thing in tech organizations. Like whether you hold a master's degree or a bachelor's and associates or several or one certification, most organizations have an onboarding phase where they're going to teach you the way that X organization wants you to do a task. Yep. So that's where I say that it really, I think, comes down to the hiring manager. And just when it comes to finding the best candidate, you need to be the best candidate, which unfortunately, sometimes if you don't know the hiring manager and you're not local, you don't go to meetups, it's only a page to 2-page long paper on you have to sell yourself and match requirements to a job rec. And it's so wild right now in this day and age of AI is being used so frequently and used. I'm guilty of it myself, to use AI to enhance conversations I want to do, or emails or bullet specifics. And your AI is fighting with ATS tracking systems for AIs to weed out the AI, to then bypass the AI And then it's just like you get to the interview and people are using AI to do the interview. It's just wild. It's such a wild day and age we're in.
We're in a real weird rabbit hole. Like, I don't know when we're going to meet Alice, but I think we're very close to Wonderland at this point. But it is very interesting. And it's interesting. I feel like maybe you saw the video I put out on social media in the last week. So that is another thing. I truly, truly, truly do not believe in my heart of hearts that I would have the role that I have if I hadn't gotten my face and name out there to be in the physical presence of these other, professionals and humans. Like, I will sing from the mountaintops that networking is so important, and not for just the social aspect of it. And now we know each other, but because we know each other, we can cultivate a mutual understanding of, you're really strong. Like, and Andrew, you're super technical. Like, I know I can have a conversation and gain technical knowledge from you, and you're going to make it palatable and understandable for me. You're not going to come at me and make me feel less than for not knowing.
Yes. Yeah.
Then take that a step further. And now that we've built this communication and this trust and this level of a relationship between one another, you can be like, oh my God, there was this incredible opportunity. Errika's the person I thought of for this. Or conversely, you should talk to Andrew. Like, he's doing amazing things. And this is where I think, like, people fall short on what the purpose of networking truly is. It really is to continue to build yourself as a human and a professional, but to also grow your reach and your ability to have new opportunities and new learning through other people.
Yeah. The terminology someone's told me is like building your personal brand, because exactly that. It's like Coca-Cola and Pepsi, right? Like, I don't know which one you prefer. I myself am a cherry Coke kind of guy.
If it's McDonald's, it's always Coke. Like, I mean, there's nothing that the McDonald's can't.
So, but it's ideally, like, if I show you some people, like, that's why, like, they're color ordinated too. If I show you red, maybe the first thing you think of, like, oh, Coca-Cola has a red can. But it's the same thing when it comes into, I think, cybersecurity, when it comes into, just like you mentioned, like, leveraging your network is huge. And building your personal brand to where I've had hiring managers and recruiters I've talked to on the channel and across conferences where I'm like, hey, look, like, what are some things you look at when you're trying to find a candidate? Well, the first thing they're going to do, they're going to go to their LinkedIn. LinkedIn is the new cover letter of looking for also new jobs, and like your first also impression of what's your LinkedIn look like. Are you social? Are you interactive? Are you engaging in your community? Is it up to date? Are the things on that LinkedIn spelled correctly, grammatically? Does it make sense? Because it's just like, oh, like they wrote this great paragraph, but there's 5 spelling errors. Like, okay, well, do they have attention to detail? Like, do they even care?
Yep. Especially with the use of AI to autocorrect some of these things or give you like a fine-tuned response. Are you leveraging the tools afforded to you?
Yes. So some even look for like just like that continuous education. Hey, if have they earned a new certification? Have they done a new training? It doesn't have to be a certified, like you get a certificate at the end of it, but like, hey, did this awesome Udemy course, was 8 hours long, but it was like about AI use and how to do automation. Or, oh, I did this awesome Python class that taught me how to do a cool script. Or, hey, I did this amazing room and try hack me or hack the box that taught me this new skill. And I tell folks that I mentor, I'm like, look, like when you're trying to break in, you need to be a little braggy and make yourself stand out, because there's 100 other people doing the same thing, trying to get that first entry role. And you need to make yourself the best candidate and really stand out to recruiters and hiring managers of why you're the best fit. You're sociable. You're always learning. You take good notes. You do write-ups. You do capture the flags or the CTFs, so you can do as well. And that's another great piece you mentioned, though, Errika, of like just using your LinkedIn or network and actually having genuine connections to actually like have like conversations like we've been having for the last few months, and then having an amazing conversation like this of just having to grow and kind of share knowledge back and forth. So fantastic.
I am going to double click on one thing you said, because I've been doing this for ever since my first opportunity to be in a hiring position came about. I have been doing this as long as that. And now the LinkedIn makes it so much easier. If you think that people that are potentially going to hire you are not looking for your social media or searching you, you're dead wrong. Like, that is the first stop, is drop your name in Google. So one bit of cyber hygiene that I would recommend to anyone, Google yourself, at least biannually, to see what gets kicked back. self-proclaimed former MySpace user, and it took forever to get into my MySpace and remove that because it was popping up for at least a decade beyond it being actually active. So,
Oh, wow.
just a little bite of knowledge for you there. But I would definitely recommend, if you're looking for a role, Google yourself, and you can do it in incognito if you think that will help to remove your algorithms. But give it a shot and just see what gets kicked back, because that is what potential hiring folks are going to see as well.
No, fantastic information, Erika. Well, 2 questions left for you before we wrap this up. So first off, thank you so much for coming on this channel. This has been so much fun. And you are going to get some awesome Ginger Hacker swag as a thank you for coming on, for letting me steal a little bit of time out of your day.
We'll get friendship bracelets as always.
I have my one that you gave me from Tech Summit, I think it was. Yeah.
Probably.
So
I'll
awesome. So, or no, the first time I got one from you, I think, was Starbucks when we met up with Ryan.
That does true.
I missed you at the Tech Summit, by the way, because I heard you were there down in Phoenix, and yeah, I totally must have missed you. Like, we probably walked by each other like several times. I just didn't see you. But so question I have for you is, when you're not doing cybersecurity and not doing compliance, what do you like to do for fun? What do you do to unplug, to relax, and kind of step away from the screen?
Do moms have fun?
What is time?
So I have 3 kiddos, and it is my own fault that they are all BRs, but we got a Brooklyn, a Brody, and a Brexton. I have a grown child whose name is Steven. He is also my partner in crime and their dad. And we have 4 dogs, which you may or may not have heard earlier in the pod acting crazy in the background. So hopefully Andrew can edit that out. All 3 of our kids are super active in sports and theater, and we just are constantly on the run. So the little things that I have for myself are geeking out over Taylor Swift with my daughter, because we are huge Swifties. And really, like, I am kind of a homebody. So one of the things we are really looking forward to this year is the next season of Stranger Things.
Nice.
We have a tendency to binge our series and then really just pine for the next season, but we restarted all of seasons 1 through 4 thinking, oh, this will take us straight up until November, and unfortunately it lasted us 3 weeks. So now we are painfully waiting for that, but truly we right now we're just kind of living the mom and dad life, running like crazy, and
I feel you.
We're loving it, but it is a wild ride, and we know that this is just a season of life. So there will be time where we do more fun things and get back to Disneyland and do the things that we love.
So cool. And yeah, no, totally get it. And my wife is a Stranger Things fan, so yeah, I watch it in proxy. So, but no, so cool. And well, Erika, before we wrap up, everyone, if you've made it this far, please like, comment, subscribe. What was your favorite part about our conversation today? Drop it in the comments, say hello. Make sure I'll be providing Erika's information if you'd like to connect. And then Erika, last but not least, what's the final advice you'd give somebody that's trying to break into cyber?
Really just be present, give yourself an opportunity to network, get your name and your face out there. And even if you are not traditionally an extroverted human, overcome that discomfort, because it will pay dividends in ways you cannot imagine.
Awesome. Well, everyone, thanks again so much for staying and coming in to checking out this video of Breaking into Cyber, and we will catch you on the next episode.